everyone, this is Eugene Roddenberry.
Dr. Mohammed Noor.
Adam Nimoy, Leonard Nimoy's son.
This is Leonard Crowfoot.
This is Dr. Aaron McDonald, Star Trek Science Advisor and Lieutenant Commander McDonald on Star Trek Prodigy.
And you're listening to
Humanist Trek.
Humanist Trek.
You're listening to Humanist Trek.
the Humanist Trek podcast.
And you're listening to Humanist Trek, a fabulous, fabulous show.
Enjoy.
And don't worry, you can do your Temporal Mechanics 101 homework later.
So Picard goes, let's go in for a closer look. And all the black people look in and be like, don't go in there. When you watch a movie, we always be yelling at the screen, girl, don't go in there. But white people, they're like, yeah, let's go get closer.
Uh-huh.
So off they go.
Yeah. Famous last words. Let's check it out.
Yeah.
Perhaps I could use this as an excuse to go to those far-off planets with little polka-dotted people if necessary, and be able to talk about love, war, nature, God, sex, all those things that go to make up the excitement of the human condition.
This is Captain Jean-Luc Picard. Welcome aboard. Jean-Luc Picard to the Starship Enterprise.
You want to review your rapid progress?
That nonsense is centuries behind us. To the Starship Enterprise.
Oh, yeah?
That is enough, damn it!
Tempo, mon capitan.
To the Starship Enterprise.
You can't deny that you're still a dangerous, savage child race.
Of the planet Earth.
You just don't get it, do you, Jean-Luc? That is the exploration that awaits you. Not mapping stars and studying nebula, but charting the unknown possibilities of existence.
And welcome to Humanist Trek. It's a comedy Star Trek podcast about the humanism in Star Trek. I'm Sarah Ray.
And I'm Allie Ashmead.
And there's a lot going on the week that we try not to, put a time on the episodes, but this is a lot happening this week. You have Father's Day on Sunday, Captain Picard Day on Monday, and Juneteenth on Thursday.
Nice.
This is a lot of things going on this week. Are you celebrating Captain Picard Day?
I don't have any plans, but I mean, we could do something. But is it Captain Picard Day or Patrick Stewart Day?
Captain Picard Day.
And that is nationwide?
That is from the episode where they had Captain Picard Day.
Oh, that's right.
Do you remember this? It had the banner in the conference room, and the kids all made little sculptures of Captain Picard or whatever on that episode.
Okay, maybe not then. I don't really. I guess I was thinking of Patrick Stewart Day, which Colorado has, but it's in September.
Yeah. No, this is Captain Picard Day. Remember Riker picked up a little plushie of Picard that someone had made and imitated him?
Wow.
Oh, man, I can't wait till we get to this episode. It's such a great episode.
Searching.
It was an annual event held aboard the Enterprise D for the ship's school children. The day's activities included a contest judged by Captain Jean-Luc Picard himself, in which the children created paintings and models of the captain. Picard was not very fond of the event himself and generally did not respond well to children. What episode was that from? The Pegasus. Yeah, what a great episode that was.
Man, don't remember.
The Pegasus is the one where Riker's old captain comes bounding back in because they used to fly this ship that had like a phase shield or something that they could go through solid objects or whatever.
Oh, nice.
And it was thought destroyed, but it turns out it just reappeared half stuck in an asteroid. You remember that? Nope, crickets.
Crickets.
It's a great episode.
I probably will when I watch it. It'll be like, oh, that's familiar.
Yeah, the idea of the phase cloak was a really great piece, and I didn't realize or remember that the opening of that episode was about Captain Picard Day. But I love that those are the same episode. You could say that episode is a bright spot in Star Trek: The Next Generation. This episode has a dark spot. It's Star Trek: The Next Generation, Season 2, Episode 2, Where Silence Has Lease.
Commander, you'll soon be getting an intruder alert.
What? I've got something, sir.
Intruder alert, sir.
It's an old-style starship, sir. Constellation class, heading this way under impulse com.
Number one, kindly take charge of our guests until we have time to decide what we're going to do with them. Sir, number one, keep them out of my way.
This episode starts with Picard wandering around worried about Riker and Worf, which Troy picks up on because those two are down in the holodeck. And it looks like we're back on that Echo Papa 69 planet or whatever it was called.
Yep.
But now it's like a paintball field or something.
Yeah, Riker and Worf are playing this live action Tomb Raider game and they've made it to level 39. And then so they're sneaking around this jungle with some sort of ruins, and then Worf finds the Infinity Gauntlet, but it seems to be missing the Infinity Stone, so there won't be any danger of snapping fingers and, ending the universe. And then they're attacked by these two very large aliens. One is a slee stack on steroids, and the other one is Skeletor's cousin.
Yes.
I was like, this is the most fucked up. And I thought, I had no idea at this point that this was the holodeck. So
Right.
I thought they were off doing a mission or something.
So the Skeletor has a hand axe, and Riker kicks the Sleestack's ass with a giant metal pipe while Worf takes on Skeletor. And at one point, Skeletor gets his blade at Worf's neck, but that gives him like the boost he needs to break free and kick Skeletor's ass. But when these monsters of the week are down, Worf turns his weapon on Riker, and Riker's like, "Whoa, at ease, motherfucker."
He was ready to take a chunk out of him.
Yeah.
Like,
and Riker's like, "Holy shit, do you do this every day?" And Worf's like, "No, I tamed it down for your weak ass."
and then he said something. He's like, "My normal sessions are too personal to be shared." Like, dude, what are you doing in there?
Everybody's doing freaky shit on the holodeck.
I know.
That's the first thing I would do with a holodeck. Freaky shit.
Mm-hmm.
You do this every day? No, Commander. Usually my calisthenics are more intense.
Here's a really rare occurrence. At the end of last week's episode, Picard ordered Wesley to set a course for the Morgana quadrant.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are actually en route to that very quadrant.
Whoa, they actually went to where they said they were going to go. And
Yeah.
they literally didn't actually make shit up at the end. So,
I mean, I don't know if we ever get there or not.
oh, that's true. We don't know.
Yeah, but we're on our way. And on the bridge, Data and Riker are showing Picard some dark spot on the sensors that appears, disappears, and reappears. But when they put it on the view screen, Picard's like, I still don't see it. So they zoom it in a bunch, again, with that awful late 80s crosshair graphic circle thing.
Mm-hmm.
Allie, you were hoping for more science in season 2, and it seems like they're going to give us some.
No.
You don't think so?
No. I mean, not in this episode. No. I wanted more science, but it's almost there. This wasn't sciencey enough for me, but it's good.
Okay. All right. I thought this was. Data says sensors indicate that there's nothing. And Picard's like, "You mean it's empty of matter, right? Because everybody knows that there's always some form of energy." And Data's like, "I said what I said. It's the absence of everything. A void without matter or energy." So I thought it was cool that they were sciencing this void thing of like,
good point.
What does nothing mean in science, and at what point does the absence of anything become something different from nothing?
Yeah, good point. I was thinking more when I say sciencey, they're using science to solve a problem, but here they're using science to determine what something is, so that it is a little bit more sciencey. Riker's like, it's a hole, and it has and of course Riker would say that it's a hole, but it has form, like surely it has height and weight. And Data, who is normally spitting facts, he's like, maybe not. And he mentions like the most elementary and valuable statement in science, which is true, is "I don't know."
I love this so much.
Me too.
This is something we try to teach, like when you talk about God claims or supernatural things, like fucking Reiki and talking to the dead and all kinds of shit. Like, because we didn't know where the sun went at night, humans invented a god that literally dragged it around the sky. When the reality is, we didn't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't know is the answer. I loved that.
Yep.
Wesley jumps in here too, because if it was a hole in space, like a wormhole or something, we'd be able to see through it, to see the stars beyond it. And Picard is like very proud of Wesley in this moment for this observation, like smacked him on the shoulder.
Troy's not getting anything from it either, of course. And there's no record of anything anywhere happening like this. So Picard goes, let's go in for a closer look. And all the black people look in and be like, don't go in there. Because when you watch a movie, we always be yelling at the screen, girl, don't go in there. But white people, they're like, yeah, let's go get closer.
Uh-huh.
So off they go.
Yeah. Famous last words. Let's check it out.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. When they get right up on it, Worf shoots a probe into it, and the probe just disappears. And Worf kind of freaks out here and suggests going to yellow alert, and he's a little sheepish to tell Picard why. But basically, he was thinking of some old, like, Klingon Old Testament story about a giant black creature that swallowed up entire ships.
And he's like, yeah, I know it sounds stupid. Never mind. They launch another probe, a bigger, better probe. You know, it's amazing. It's the best probe. You can do that way better than me.
We have the best probes. They have all the sensors. Nobody has more sensors than we do.
This second probe has way more sensors, so they do that. They launch it, and it disappears even quicker than the first one.
Worf's like, let me shoot it.
Yeah. Now he's getting pissed. He's almost scared and pissed at the same time.
Wesley used the data from the location where the probes disappeared to figure out its outer limits.
There is nothing wrong with your television set.
And of course he's like, hey, Captain, I could move in closer.
He's wearing his Arid Extra Dry.
Oh my gosh.
Do you remember that?
Or his axe.
Get a little closer with Arid Extra Dry.
Oh my God. Back when the commercials were like cooler, way cooler than now.
That's us being old people. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, commercials in our day were so much better.
They were. They were.
Okay, Allie, I believe you. They were better in our day.
Where's the beef? Like, everyone knows where the beef is.
Suddenly, the void seems to jump toward them, and now the D is inside the hole.
Oh my.
Data, and of course, Data is the one to drop that knowledge. He's like, whatever it is, we seem to be inside it.
I could move in closer.
Don't go in there.
Make it so, Mr. Crusher. Thrusters only.
Girl, don't go in there.
There doesn't seem to be any immediate danger at the moment, so Picard says we'll hold position and study this phenomenon. But he doesn't really know that they can leave at this point. Riker's like, oh, hey, remember that ancient Earth history class at the Academy about the time men still believed the Earth was flat? And Picard's like, yes, number one, the 2020s, as I recall. And this kicks off a David Letterman top 10 list.
The category tonight of the top 10 list from the home office in Sioux City, Iowa. Oh, it's a good one.
Stupid things humans once believed. The Earth was flat, the sun orbited the Earth, you sailed too far in the ocean, you'd fall off the edge, vaccines are unsafe, shit like that.
Oh yeah, some of that people still think. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, they are no longer able to communicate outside the void, so Riker tells Data to hurry up with the scans. We got to get out of here. Also, unfortunately, Pulaski shows up to bigot at the robot some more. He keeps increasing the zoom at her command, but the view screen never changes, and rather than assume that zooming in here just doesn't have any effect on the visual, she assumes that it doesn't know what it's doing.
Yes. She just keeps regressing every episode. Well, each episode, at least she was sort of talking to him like a human the last episode, but now she's calling him an it.
Yeah. And Picard's like, oh no, Commander Data knows precisely what he is doing. Then Pulaski seems like she's trying to be apologetic, but this comes across to me as someone who has been told they have to respect somebody's pronouns, but they just don't understand or care and are more bothered that this is something they have to think about now than about how it affects the other person. She's like, I know, your Starfleet record says you're alive. I guess I just have to accept that. Not today, of course. This is really hard for me, This is just also new to me. And this is a kind of trans allegory. Like, it ain't about you, honey.
Yeah.
It ain't about you and your discomfort.
Yeah. Trans, any sort of other, like, they're going to have to accept that other people besides them exist and we're valid.
Yeah.
And fuck you if you think that way.
Yeah.
Picard wants to just make sure that as he's zooming in, are all of your systems functioning? He calls engineering and to make sure that all the systems are functioning down there, and they are. He asks Data to speculate what's going on. The void has a total lack of dimension, and it does not exist, yet being within it kind of negates that whole thing. It does exist. We're inside something. Data had a great idea. He's like, could a lack of dimension be another dimension in itself?
Oh, that is a weed question if I've ever heard one.
Oh, I know. Like,
right?
What is the meaning of life?
Yeah.
But anyway,
it's time to get going. So they jump to warp 2, and despite traveling 1.4 parsecs, a measure of distance, not time, Star Wars fans,
laugh it up, fuzzball.
There's still no change to the view screen. But based on how far they've traveled, they should be out of the void by now. So Geordi comes to the bridge, and I love this too. This is Geordi transferring the main engineering controls to the bridge station. I love this.
I totally had a chubby for that because I was like, LaForge, he's badass now. He is the chief engineer, and he walks in, dick swinging. I love it.
The HMFIC.
Yeah, or well, I would say HNIC, but and he walks in, dick swinging. He's like, "Hey, transfer engineering to the bridge." I love it. Even though they're on a reverse course, they're not getting anywhere, so they stop. And they hit the place where they entered, but they're still in it. And Data has a great idea. Well, what's the best way to figure out where you are? You drop a beacon, and then you drive away from it. And so that's what they do. They put a beacon, and it has this ringing bell sound, and then they move forward, and you hear the bell sound get lighter and lighter.
So this was a really weird choice for me. What they're doing is the Doppler effect. As a car drives past you, the pitch changes with distance. And so that's what they're doing with this beacon bell thing. But there's no sound in space.
Well, but maybe it's just transmitting. So that's what I'm thinking is there's no sound, but it's transmitting a tone.
But the thing that it does that I liked, it gives an interesting touch so that it serves as an indicator when they start picking up the signal again dead ahead, which turns out to be the same beacon that they just left behind them.
Right.
Like that was a good audible way to communicate that.
Good point.
They left the beacon and then are approaching it again.
Yeah, good point.
Anyway, we've got a real mystery here.
Suddenly, Worf exclaims he senses a disturbance in the Force. I mean...
as if millions of voices suddenly cried out in terror and were suddenly silenced.
I mean, in the sector that there is probably a vessel. And son of a bitch, they sense a ship that's equipped with a cloaking device.
Which turns out to be a decloaking Romulan ship.
Straight out of Romulus. Easy as his name and the boys coming. Straight out of Romulus.
The Romulan ship lights them up and arms another round, so the D returns fire and destroys the warbird with one hit, which is impossible.
Yeah.
Equally impossible. There's no debris left from the destruction either.
Yeah. Picard says that's way too easy. Something's going on. Just then, there's another vessel behind them. And they put it on the screen. Guess what? This time it's a Federation ship. It's the USS Yamato, which is their sister ship.
They aren't answering the phone, and there's no life signs aboard, so Riker decides he wants to beam an away team over there, read their diaries, see if they can learn anything about what's going on here.
And of course, LaForge, being a black person, he'd be like, look, keep the cheese. I just want out of the trap. But now Riker wants to go over there and get even further into the hole to check it out.
Of course, Riker wants to get further into the hole.
Oh my.
Remember the course in ancient history at Starfleet Academy? About the time when men still believed the Earth was flat?
And that the sun revolved around it?
And that if a ship sailed too far out into the ocean, it would fall off the edge of the world?
Riker and Worf arrive in the transporter room where O'Brien is now a regular, and Worf's like, I'm acquainted with the Yamato. You should transport us to the aft station. And I thought, isn't their ship identical to the D? Of course you're familiar with it, dumbass. It's exactly the same as your ship.
That's what's meant by sister ship, I thought. But
I
yeah.
thought so too. And when they materialize, they're definitely on the Enterprise bridge playset with the lights turned down. So it's clear that they're in the same ship.
Yeah. So Worf wants to materialize on the bridge in the aft section, but Riker's like, so we can take him by surprise. He's still ready to fight, and Riker reminds him there's nobody there. He's like, it's still sound, still sound tactic.
So Riker materializes in a hallway, not the bridge, and there's this horrible screeching sound echoing through the corridors. Then Riker hears Worf screaming and goes running, only to find that Worf heard Riker scream and also came running. And when they try to call O'Brien and then Picard, the call is real staticky, and unfortunately this also means that they can't beam back either.
Yep.
The computer's not responding on the Yamato, so they are going to try to get to the bridge. And meanwhile on the D, the power flickers and emergency power engages, and the aft stations are all dark and engineering isn't answering the phone. So Geordi heads back down to main engineering.
On the USS Yamato, Riker is, doing a tricorder and scanning the walls and determining that, hey, wait, this isn't a Federation ship. The walls aren't made of what they should be made out of for a Federation ship, which is titanium. It's close, but this is beyond our actual technology. So they head to the bridge. But they walk through what they think is the turbolift for the bridge, and they're on the bridge, but they're like, this is in the wrong place. It should be 4 levels above us. So they know something's going on.
This was, and I do my notes sober generally. This is the trippiest fucking scene in a while that we've seen in Star Trek, because it doesn't matter what door they go into, it takes them back to a different door on the bridge.
So if they walk out of the door to the bridge, there's another bridge.
Yeah.
And the door's open, and Worf is like, 2 bridges. And they're like, if we go through there, where will we be? On the bridge. And this was like a whole who's on first kind of thing. It was kind of funny.
It was good. It was so good.
So they're trying to figure out, is this the same bridge, or if we step through there, are we going to another bridge? And I was just thinking of that movie, Tropic Thunder. Did you ever watch that movie?
Nope.
Where I'm a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude. And I was just like, you should watch it. That was,
I should.
I think Robert Downey Jr.'s best role.
Wow.
Because he played a black man.
You heard it here first, folks.
Well, and it's an unpopular opinion, but yeah, he played a black man. And was hilarious.
Back on the D, systems come back online, and Data's got a hole in the void with stars. An exit. But they're still unable to communicate with the away team, and Picard isn't going to just leave them there and choose the needs of the many.
Right.
Worf opens another door from this bridge onto another bridge, and this time we see that Riker is on that bridge in the same position, and then when Worf steps through, he comes out that same door. This was the hardest, synopsis bit to write.
Yeah. And Worf is actually getting upset at this point, cursing in Klingon. He's trying to pry the door open of the turbo lift, and Riker has to again pull him back from the ledge.
He was like, what the fuck? There's only one bridge. Every ship has one. There's one bridge, not more bridges, just one bridge.
One, Riker, one. Yeah, he was losing his shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Back on the Enterprise, though, this guy named Haskell, new guy we've not seen before.
Oh, you mean New Geordie?
Yeah, new Geordie, new black Geordie. He's black, but he's got a red shirt on. He's letting them know they're losing that hole that they're calling it Starfix, but I guess it's just an opening in the void, but it's going away and it's almost gone. So Picard is like, it's fine, let it go. We got to go get our people.
Haskell is played by Charles Douglas, and this is pretty much what he's known for.
Mm-hmm.
He was in some one-off episodes of ABC After School Specials, Family Ties, and Mama's Family. When Riker gets to the bridge, he seems as hot-headed as Worf, snapping, "I've had it. Let's put all this fucking technology to work, figure out what the hell is going on, and get the fuck out of here." And then he, storms off the bridge.
Wait a minute.
2 bridges?
If we go through there, where will we be?
On the bridge.
But we are on the bridge.
Is it the same bridge?
Or did we step from one bridge onto another bridge?
After the break, Riker continues, stating the facts and trying to talk themselves to the answer. And then, do you remember when Q knocked Geordie's visor off his face and was fucking around with him by moving it around so he couldn't get to it?
Mm-hmm.
This scene was really giving that scene because this Starfix keeps moving every time they try to move towards it.
Right.
Like Q's out there just moving it around to be a dick.
Yeah. Yep. Like you know how you play with an animal? Like a cat toy. You try to not keep away. It's basically what it is.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't take too much of this keep away game before Picard's like, yeah, no, full stop. We're done. I'm not playing this game anymore. And he asks Troy, before you said you didn't sense anything. I don't suppose that's changed, has it? And she was like, well, actually, yeah, I guess maybe there is some kind of intelligence out there. But it eluded me before. And Pulaski, who I didn't remember was on the bridge during all of this.
We try so hard to forget her.
I guess it's my second nature. She leans over Worf's console and goes, "Rats in a maze!"
Exactly.
She thinks this whole thing has just been them put into a situation like we're lab rats being tested.
They all agree to just hold position and not satisfy its curiosity, whatever it is. And then finally, we get to see the entity or whatever's keeping him there introduce itself. And this is what I remember. This is like the only thing I remember is this stupid face. Why did they do this? Why did they do it this way?
It's so creepy.
Yeah.
It's such a creepy face.
It's like a lizard face, sort of.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is Nagilum, and Data still has nothing on sensors, yet there's Nagilum, and they're interacting with him. And Nagilum is definitely curious about Data, who is a different construction than the others. And he names all the men on the bridge. And then with Pulaski, he takes control of her body and whirls her around the upper bridge. Curious about her because she's also a different construction. She's female.
Why didn't you do that to Data? Why does she get singled out as the one to get pushed around? And shoved up against the wall?
Because she's the woman.
And she explains, well, yeah, I'm different. Minor differences from the men on the bridge. I'm what we call female. And then Nagilum says, oh, I heard of that. I heard of you. and then Picard says, this is how we keep our species going.
Nagilum's like, cool, show me how that's done. And Data says, unfortunately, Tasha Yar is no longer available to demonstrate that act.
Data, I'm only going to tell you this just once. It never happened.
Yeah, and Pulaski's like, I am not having sex in front of you.
Then Nagilum asks about their temporary nature. He wants to know about death, and to explore this idea, he causes New Geordie to begin convulsing, hands on his face in pain as he falls out of the chair onto the floor and dies.
So fucked up.
Oh my god! They've killed
Haskell.
you, bastards!
If he wanted to learn about death and exploring human nature, he should have just got up inside Troy like that other guy last week and made himself into a human to see what humanity's like.
Yeah.
We're doing a lot of exploring humanity like on the nose.
Yeah, it's very on the nose. We want to see death. We want to see sex. We impregnate people.
Pulaski tries a hypospray, but ultimately declares him dead. And Nagilum finds this interesting, and he intends to kill a third of the crew, maybe half, just to explore all the different ways to die. Dumb ways to die. So many dumb ways to die.
It's kind of like what we used to do in lab experiments with rats and other things. When rats in a maze, hey, that's our experiment. That's what we did to other living things.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It is the way in which we propagate our species.
Please demonstrate how this is accomplished.
Not likely.
They've all gathered in the conference room to discuss the situation, and Picard comes to the conclusion, if they can't fight Nagilum, he'll just blow up the damn ship. No! Rather than suffer this drawn-out execution of his crew. And Pulaski's like, I'm beginning to regret taking this job.
I agree with Picard. So off they go down into engineering, where I remember this table. They do the similar thing in Voyager whenever they have to initiate the auto-destruct sequence. Computer verifies Picard, and then it verifies Riker. They're both on the opposite side of the table. They put their hands in to verify their fingerprints. And they have a discussion about, okay, how long do we give people to, accept that we're going to blow the ship up? And they decided on 20 minutes. That should be long enough.
This could have provoked an interesting question that, maybe we can come back to in the end, the preparation of death.
Yeah.
Next, we're in Picard's quarters listening to music as he prepares for his own death when Troy arrives. And she says, destroying ourselves won't change Nagilum's mind. And that struck me as odd because we aren't trying to change his mind. We're trying to avoid slow, painful, torturous executions.
Mm-hmm. And then she says something else that's sus, because she's like, I would certainly feel that, which she said she couldn't feel anything before or much.
Anyway, she sits down and Data arrives at the door asking about death. Picard gives him some examples of what people believe. Some people think you become energy and go back to the cosmos. Some people think you go to heaven and live in paradise. And some people believe you just cease to exist. Data asks Picard what he believes. And his answer suggests something about being part of a reality that is beyond what we understand as reality. And this, in the moment, just now struck me because, as you know, I'm reading Susan Sackett's book. Thank you again, Susan Sackett, for coming on the show. That was freaking awesome. And she talks about this in Gene's own personal view of what is there beyond us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's his belief wasn't the heaven and hell or even reincarnation necessarily, just that we all sort of belong to something bigger than us, that a collective consciousness maybe of some sort that is bigger than all of us. And this is really kind of reflected in what Picard says his belief is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that really rang for me as the way Susan described Gene's personal belief.
Cool.
There's just something bigger than us and we're part of it, and that's good enough.
Yeah. And to some, it is good enough. It's good enough for me. Troy and Data are like, both agree with each other that, no, Jean-Luc, we shouldn't let ourselves die. And Troy's like, it's only half of us. It's okay. So what if Nagilum kills half of us? It's okay. And immediately Picard is like, no, something's wrong. You would never say that. Neither one of you. So then he gets the idea to ask the computer where Data is, and the computer responds that Data's on the bridge. So neither of these two fuckers sitting in his office are who they appear to be.
Picard's like, nice try, bucko. And Troy and Data disappear. And then Data calls down from the bridge to tell Picard, hey, we're out of the void. Everything's great now. Sure enough, there's stars out the window even. But when Riker suggests shutting down the auto-destruct, Picard says no. This is probably just another Nagilum trick attempt.
I did appreciate his skepticism. So,
yeah. Picard arrives on the bridge with 1 minute left on the auto-destruct clock, but now he can't trust anything.
He's like, it could all be part of the illusion. And so the clock is running down, 40 seconds, 30 seconds. And Troy does pipe up and say, I think it's gone. I don't feel its presence,
But you can't trust that either.
No. 20 seconds, 10 seconds. And Riker's like, hello?
This was really good fun.
Yeah.
Picard's like, cancel the auto-destruct, I suppose. And Majolbot says, does Riker William T. concur? And Riker's like, yes, absolutely. I indeed concur. Wholeheartedly. Please, dear God, shut the thing off. And Picard's like, a simple yes would have sufficed. That was good fun.
Yeah, it was.
In the ready room, Picard mutters, Nagilum, I hope you got what you needed. And Nagilum appears on his laptop this time. Picard asks why he released them rather than seeing the way they faced death. And Nagilum says it wasn't necessary. He learned all he needed, and he's willing to share those conclusions with Picard, but Picard is not interested. Nagilum knows better. He says, of course you're interested. You're too inquisitive not to want to know. You seem to find no tranquility in anything. You struggle against the inevitable. You thrive on conflict. You are selfish, yet you value loyalty. You are rash, quick to judge, slow to change. It's amazing you've survived. But that, as it may, as species, we have no common ground. You are too aggressive, too hostile, too militant.
He pretty much nailed humanity. However, don't you love it when these gods do something very violent, like kill people, and then have the nerve to say that
we're the ones that are,
Yeah.
Yeah. Picard recognizes one thing they do have in common, though, their curiosity. And with that, Nagilum leaves, and we're off to the next adventure. Maybe we'll get to the Morgana Quadrant eventually.
Yeah, but Riker wants him to steer clear of holes. On
Yeah,
the way.
watch out for the potholes.
And that you don't hear Riker say that often.
Steer clear of the holes.
Yeah.
Boy, I'm sure glad that's over with.
I'll be glad to be relieved of this cargo.
Me too.
It is done, and perhaps just as well.
Yeah, but I learned something today.
I sincerely hope that this is the last time that I find myself here.
You just don't get it, do you, Jean-Luc? You see, of all the species, yours cannot abide stagnation. Change is at the heart of what you are. That is the exploration that awaits you. Not mapping stars and studying nebula, but charting the unknown possibilities of existence.
Again, my God, another alien trying to study humanity in some different way. We have done that so much in this series already.
Yeah. And they're just trying to find different ways. This is only episode 2, and it's been done twice already. So yeah. I'm trying to understand humanity.
Yep. I do like the idea about how long do we prepare to die? Like, what does that process look like? Riker says, do I do it fast and get it over with, or give the crew time to process it and say goodbyes or whatever?
Yeah. I'd want it to be 5 minutes, and then don't give me 20. Like,
yeah.
Don't give me 20. I don't know. What would you want?
I don't know. I've thought a lot about like planned end of life planning. As you know, we talk about this on our panel about the episode of TNG that's coming up, where the idea is you put yourself down before you start to lose your faculties and become a burden on your family and society. And that is something that has connected with me since I realized it on a rewatch, that's what we were talking about. And then I think a lot about the right to die and death with dignity and how that looks what that offers you a chance to get together and have a party and actually say goodbye to people.
Yeah.
And I think I like that. So many times you lose someone and you didn't get to say that one thing, or you didn't get to say, I love you one more time, or goodbye, or whatever. And the planning our obsolescence, I guess, is a way to create that opportunity. And I like that. But then, did we go on a month-long tour of saying goodbye?
Well, yeah, it's
Or do we have a party and 20 minutes I push the button?
yeah. Let's face it though, like it's all about the people you leave behind. Like it's all about making them feel okay with your death.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Something to ponder, but I would definitely like to have the choice because sometimes you don't get it.
Right. People die in car accidents and plane accidents and all kinds of accidents or shootings or whatever in a way that's, it's not, I have a terminal condition and I know that I have
6
time on
months.
the clock.
Right.
It just kind of happens very suddenly and you're not offered any time to process your own death.
Yeah.
Or you get like you become us and you get high and you talk about it every few months on this dumb podcast. And I do have to think about, the time that I have left in my life and not knowing how much that time is or when the time comes. But, saying the things that I should say now rather than, I don't know.
Live your life. Like say the things you need to say now. Don't wait because you don't know when it's going to happen, and live your life like it's your last day, like always.
What I really needed from this episode was some scenes showing people facing this seemingly inevitable end. All over the ship, Majel is echoing through the halls and rooms. 10, 9, 8, whatever,
7. Yeah, there was no...
Like, there's a countdown to our deaths, and we didn't get to see anybody facing it.
Other than Picard sitting there listening to classical music. I would have wanted to see people in their quarters hugging on their kids and loved ones. And that is, a little bit hollow. Yeah,
we could really have explored death and how people process the end of our own lives in different ways, but we just never really got there in any meaningful way.
Yeah.
In the end, this is just another Melvar Q Trelane being fucking around with humans to try to learn about them.
Yeah, let's watch them dance, shoot at their feet and watch them dance. Yeah. Just sprinkles of the whole personhood question and how Pulaski treats Data. Like, I know we're going to see her evolution, but just the sprinkling of McCoy racism that we hated so much.
Yeah.
And I don't like her response to it whenever she's corrected, but like you said, not really a humanist theme, but it will be when she evolves from that,
Yeah. I think it was interesting that scene really was the pronoun problem, written and produced decades before we're in the situation we are now, where people are trying to, say, no, I am a woman. My pronouns are she. Like that's, and I expect you to get with it and not make it about yourself. Like that really rang as one of those things that, and I think we've been talking about this a lot more recently, that still rings true today in a way that is, one, surprising that we're still fucking dealing with it. And also two, surprising that it was on the radar back then.
Yeah. And how it's so inconvenient for people to learn. Oh, all right, fine. Like, I'll call you whatever, but I'm not gonna like it. And like, why is that so hard for someone to do? Do someone a kindness and call them what they would like to be called.
Yeah. Well, did anybody die in this episode?
As a matter of fact, poor Haskell bit
New
it.
Geordi. Easy come, easy go.
New Geordi. Wrote a rhyme about it. Want to hear it?
Yes.
Here it goes.
We're here together to honor our friend and comrade, We will all find time to grieve for her in the days that are ahead. But for now, she has asked that we celebrate her life with this.
Yo, picture this in the black, no release. On the D, in a trap, can't find no peace. They facing something alien, a mind unseen. Rats in a maze, playing tricks so obscene. Haskell at the helm, standing firm, no doubt. But the mental pressure's building, gonna knock him out. He's seeing illusions, his worst fears coming true. The walls closing in, what's a red shirt to do? The entity's attacking straight up in his brain. He's grabbing his head, it's driving him insane. He drops to the floor in a final breath. Haskell met his end in a lonely death. Word.
We can handle all the pleasantries later. Now, let's get down to business.
I am willing to pay handsomely for you.
I think you've had a little too much to drink.
Now, what do you know about my money?
Your money?
The money he stole!
You stole his money?
Those vouchers I gave you were every bit as good as Latinum.
You can spend Latinum almost anywhere. Those vouchers are only good at your bar.
We want to thank everyone that supports the show. We especially want to thank our founding admirals over at patreon.com/humanisttrek. Thank you to Russell, Ali, Peter, Sarah, Bruce, and Bear and Cured Podcast. Thank you all so much for supporting the show.
Thank you, guys.
Kapla, warriors of the cosmos. Listen well. If you find Humanist Trek to be a worthy battle companion, prove your mettle. Leave a review like a victorious roar echoing through the halls of Stovokor. But for those with the heart of a true Klingon, ascend to greatness by becoming a patron. Pledge your support and earn the respect of warriors across the galaxy. Earn early access, battle-worthy merch, and bonus content that'll make your blood boil hotter than Klingon coffee. Visit patreon.com/humanisttrek and pledge a meager $3 per moon cycle. It's the honorable thing to do. And let it be known throughout the Empire that you have helped fuel the laughter heard from Kronos to the far reaches of Grethor. Ha!
Captain, Starfleet Academy is requesting an update on our estimated arrival.
Finalists, please take your seats.
I must admit you have a very fast mind.
Once I realized it was a trick question, there was only one answer.
Although only one student will be chosen for the Academy, any of you could easily qualify. Candidates, good luck.
You got called to the superintendent's office. It's a story I'd like to hear.
Beck is back now with the answer to this week's Starfleet Academy Cadet Challenge for Where Silence Has Lease. Remind everyone the question.
This is one of only 2 occasions where Riker does what?
We went with workout battle style with Worf in the holodeck, and the correct answer is...
Uses a tricorder. What?
The Admiral is definitely incorrect.
Only twice?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's fucking crazy.
The other episode is Power Play.
Okay. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's very that's a real deep cut there. Sorry. like no one would unless you watch them all in succession and then start writing down statistics of when actors do what.
Which we know someone has done.
Yeah.
Unless Jonathan Frakes himself said, I only got to use a tricorder twice because he was pissed about it. I don't know who found it out.
Yeah.
But
Interesting.
That's a good one. Good one question, lady.
All right. Well, next time we'll be reviewing Star Trek The Next Generation Season 2, Episode 3. You do remember this one, Allie. Elementary, Dear Data.
Yeah.
Data poses as Sherlock Holmes to decipher a puzzle that threatens Dr. Pulaski's life.
These are, I love these.
I do too. This is the one where we meet Moriarty, right? That he becomes an ongoing thing.
Yep.
And starts in this episode, I think. Yeah, Dr. Pulaski gets kidnapped. And
something goes wrong where the character sees the door, or he figures out that he's not real or something. Something like that.
Yeah, some kind of glitch. Anyway, what's the question for elementary Dear Data?
This episode is the only one ever in TNG to feature a reference to what?
What?
Only what to feature to another sci-fi show?
That's a good guess. My initial thought was to reference TOS, but we've heard that was the Naked Time, Naked Now. So it can't be that.
Maybe it's. Damn it! I don't know.
I don't either.
I'll say another sci-fi show or something. I don't know. The Twilight Zone, because that was big back then. Star Wars? Oh no. Or can I just say? I'll just say another sci-fi show in general. I have no idea.
Okay.
I have no idea.
I don't either. I'm gonna say maybe they somehow. This is like straight out my ass.
Straight out of Sarah's ass. We need a t-shirt.
Oh my.
Damn it, I need to go get my pen.
You don't have it?
No.
Well, that was a stupid
I know.
lack of foresight on your part.
I was gonna say something like they reference like present day, like they reference the 1980s or whatever, the time that that actual shooting was happening. That can't possibly be right, but I have no other good guesses and certainly no funny ones. So that's what we're gonna lock in. And if you want to play along, you know how to do that. Head out to your social media, share this episode with the hashtag Starfleet Challenge, send us an email, leave us a voicemail. We'll pick out a winner, and next time we'll discuss Star Trek The Next Generation Season 2, Episode 3, Elementary Dear Data.
Glory to your house.
Make it so, number one.
Humanist Trek is available wherever you replicate your podcasts. Follow us on all the social medias at Humanist Trek. Become a patron at patreon.com/humanisttrek. Open hailing frequencies to podcast@humanisttrek.com and visit our website, humanisttrek.com. Humanist Trek is a production of Sarah Austin Media.